At the class reunion, everyone still thought I was the same poor kid from back then. My old rival had his arm around the class beauty. I never managed to date, boasting that he de-used his father's connections to reserve this exclusive club that S notoriously hard to book, telling me, with condescension, to eat up. I smiled faintly and summoned the manager. All expenses for this private room will be on the house today. On the 25th of January, the 10th anniversary reunion of our university graduation was held. The class monitor actually managed to get my contact information and repeatedly insisted that I must attend. Julian, it's been 10 years. You don't need to keep avoiding everyone. Even if you're not doing well, it's fine. We all really miss you. I sneered inwardly. Miss me more like miss the chance to laugh at me. Without saying much, I verbally agreed to come. After graduating from college, because of that incident, I lost contact with everyone in the class. To this day, they probably still think I lost my job and continued selling pork with my father. February 25th was a rainy day. I walked into the largest luxury private room at the Starlight Clubhouse at the agreed time. The lively private room instantly fell silent with over a dozen pairs of eyes fixed on me in unison. Some gazes held contempt, some mockery, some scrutiny, and some curiosity. Just like back then when they all wrongfully accused me of being a thief. The class monitor was the first to stand up, his face beaming with joy. Old classmate, we were afraid you wouldn't come. You were the last to arrive. Was the traffic bad today? I walked straight to an empty seat and shrugged. Not sure I walked here. My office is just on the 3rd floor. It took less than 2 minutes to walk down. Julian, why didn't you drive in such heavy rain? Leo teased me. Leo was my upper bunkmate who never missed a chance to mock my family's poverty back in our dorm days. Even a fool could detect the sarcasm in his tone. He was certain I didn't own a car. I took a sip of tea. I live nearby, so it's unnecessary. 03 This clubhouse is a quiet retreat in the bustling city with an excellent location, but there don't seem to be any residential areas nearby. The speaker was the class monitor. He wore black-framed glasses, his hair neatly combed, dressed in a traditional Chinese tunic suit, exuding an air of officialdom. A female classmate decked out in jewels chimed in. To the east of the clubhouse is Shengda International. That's the only residential area within 2 kilometers. You don't live there, do you? I recognized her as Laura back in college. She would always give me a look of disdain whenever she passed by. She used to complain about me to others. His family sells pork. He must reek of it. Then someone suddenly remarked, Laura, the properties at Shengda International are all luxury flats, over 400 square meters, priced at $300,000 per square meter. Even your Brian might not be able to afford one, let alone anyone else. Laura let out a laugh, looking at me sideways with a condescending air. Julian, where exactly do you live? 04. I found it amusing. As it happens, I do own an apartment at Shengda International, but I only go back there when my parents come to visit. Most of the time I live at my fiancé's place. First, I didn't want my busy fiancé to commute across half the city. Second, I love the expansive lake view from her apartment window. But given her unique profession, I didn't want to reveal any information about her to these people. I kept it brief. I live at my girlfriend's place. Several people laughed without restraint. Julian, after all these years, you still can't resist hovering around women, can you? I turned toward the voice. The man opposite me was handsome, impeccably dressed, exuding an air of sophisticated roguishness. I narrowed my eyes. He was my arch-rival throughout 4 years of university. Mark. 05 Mark's parents, one in politics and the other in business, came from an exceptionally affluent family. He himself was also outstandingly talented, handsome, academically brilliant, and athletically gifted, making him the heartthrob of every girl on campus. As for me, a penniless student who relied on financial aid and part-time jobs just to get by, the only arena where I could compete with him was academics. Mark was the golden boy, yet he always trailed behind me academically, which naturally didn't sit well with him. And there was another reason for our opposition. I glanced discreetly at Louise, who sat beside Mark, still stunningly beautiful even after 30. I had been her 3-year-long simp and backup plan. 06 Louise was gorgeous, the undisputed class belle and department flower. I was just 18 when I entered university, so naturally I easily developed crushes on pretty girls. Louise had so many admirers they could have circled the track field twice. Being classmates gave me the advantage of proximity. Sharing homework with the goddess, highlighting key points before exams, including her name in competition entries, even writing her papers for her. Every sacrifice I made was willing, just for the smile my goddess reserved for me alone. Only later did I learn that during those sleepless nights, I devoted myself wholeheartedly to Louise. She had already checked into countless hotel rooms with Mark, and Mark deliberately waited until graduation to reveal the truth to me. The sight of my devastated state gave him immense satisfaction. 07, my thoughts returned from the past. The burning indignation from back then had long since dissipated. Noticing the matching rings on their fingers, I smiled and said, Congratulations on your marriage. Julian, your congratulations are a bit late. Their second child is already old enough to run errands. Louise maintained her goddess-like poise, giving me a faint smile. Her carefree demeanor made it seem as though the person she had toyed with for 3 years back then wasn't me at all. Louise said, you mentioned a girlfriend just now, it's still not married. My girlfriend is still young, no rush. Mentioning Natalie, my heart softened and my tone unconsciously became tender. Leo scoffed. All young girls these days say they're in no hurry, but really they just want to sell themselves at the highest price, offer her a dowry of $1 million, and she'll be tripping over herself to marry you. Everyone present nodded in agreement, their gazes at me, growing even more scornful and disdainful. I hadn't even been inside for 5 minutes, barely warmed my seat, when they probably already assumed I was some deadbeat living in my girlfriend's place, no car, no house, and couldn't even afford the bride price. This perfectly fulfilled their entire fantasy about my failed life. 08, the class monitor poured drinks for everyone. When it was my turn, he casually asked, where are you working now, old classmate? Many pricked up their ears. After all these years in business, I've learned a thing or two about reading people. They just wanted to hear if I'd really gone back home to sell pork, didn't they? I run a small business of my own. I pretended to be modest. Just in the private room, doors swung open and an unfamiliar security guard walked in. He asked loudly, excuse me, who owns the Lamborghini parked outside? Another guest has scratched it slightly, and the owner would like to discuss compensation with you. The people in the private room buzzed with discussion. Wow, which one of our classmates drove such a luxurious car here? I raised my hand to signal the security guard. It's my voice wasn't loud, but it instantly silenced the entire room. Go tell that guest not to worry about the car trouble in the rain, no compensation is needed. 09. The security guard must be new, and it was also the first time I'd driven my Lamborghini to this club. No wonder he didn't recognize it as the boss's car. The security guard acknowledged and left, thoughtfully closing the door behind him. The private room was deathly silent. Everyone stared at me as if they'd seen a ghost. A round of applause shattered the silence. Using someone else's car to show off your own status, Julian, you've really outdone yourself this time. Mark stared at me, gnashing his teeth as he spoke. I couldn't be bothered to explain or argue with him. After all these years navigating the business world, that hot-headed young man who used to fly off the handle at the slightest provocation and valued his pride above all else had long since disappeared. At Mark's words, the other's previously grim expressions gradually softened. The league branch secretary kept shaking his finger at me. You'd better watch out in case the real car owner comes to settle scores with you. The private room door opened again as 7 or 8 Cheongsam-clad beauties brought in exquisite dishes one after another. 10, our sociable class monitor stood up holding his wine glass. Classmates, let me say a few words first. First, let us celebrate our 10-year graduation reunion and gathering here today. Secondly, thank you to our classmate Mark for choosing this venue for our important reunion. It's truly given us all a chance to broaden our horizons. Laura giggled and said, you know what, this club is the hardest place to book in S-City. My Brian only managed to come here once before, and no matter how hard we tried afterward, we couldn't get another reservation. A proud expression appeared on Mark's face as he smiled and said, no big deal. Although my old man has stepped down, he still carries a bit of weight. Louise wore a perfectly proper smile, looking genuinely honored to be there. Mark spoke to me in a condescending tone. Julian, you probably haven't even heard of this club. The food, drinks, and entertainment here are things you've never experienced in your life. Treasure this opportunity. I looked at the table full of rare delicacies. I'd nearly grown tired of eating, smiling without a word. Only the wealthy and powerful could secure reservations at our club, and usually the manager would come by to check on such guests. The manager had grown accustomed to me dining with guests. After perfunctorily asking about my impressions and feedback, he was about to leave. I stopped him. This table is all my old classmates today. All expenses for this private room are on the house. My tone was far too matter-of-fact. The entire table looked at me in disbelief. The manager looked troubled. I knew why he was hesitating. Since its opening, this club had never comped any guest S-bill. Even the most VIP customers would get at best a 50% discount. Especially for today's private room expenses, the bill would easily run into 6 figures at minimum. But the manager's hesitation appeared to others like a drunken guest deliberately making things difficult for him. I heard Leo muttering to the person beside him, is he a bit out of his mind? Mark stood up, abruptly shot me a fierce glare, then walked over to the manager with an apologetic smile. George, don't take his words seriously. Please go attend to your business first. Mark practically pushed George out while ushering him politely. After returning, Mark pointed angrily at my nose and said, Julie and George only arranged this private room as a favor to my father. Don't you dare screw things up for me. Laura also sneered in agreement. Exactly your entire year's salary wouldn't cover this table of dishes, and you're asking for a free meal. Who do you think you are? Even the mayor doesn't have that kind of pull. Next, everyone started chiming in with nothing but mockery and derision. Just then my phone screen lit up with a WeChat message from William. That batch of pork 1 TB delivered today. The class monitor was close enough to catch a glimpse of the message on the screen. He chuckled, "Ha, still selling pork, huh?" Patting my shoulder with feigned concern, he said, "Buddy, take a look around this place, this decor. It's no wet market, and you can't just wave the bill like you're selling pork, even if you're pretending to be rich. This is going too far." I smiled without saying a word. After 3 rounds of drinks, their curiosity about me gradually faded, and their attention finally shifted away from me. Since they thought I wasn't doing well, they were finally satisfied. Laura asked Louise, "I remember, right after graduation, there was a talent scout who approached you wanting you to act in a TV series." Louise glanced at Mark beside her and laughed. "It's not that easy. You can't just become famous overnight." Laura shook her head. "You're so beautiful, and you were so young back then. Why wouldn't it be possible?" Mark took Louise's hand and spoke with extreme chauvinism. "The women of our Jo family shouldn't be out flaunting themselves in public. They should stay home peacefully, tending to their husbands and raising children." Louise's face showed a flicker of discomfort before she smiled again. I knew Louise had actually wanted to debut as a celebrity back in college. With her beauty and figure, she was somewhat of a minor internet celebrity at the time. But after she went public with Mark, she gradually stopped posting online. She suddenly turned to me, "Julian, what does your girlfriend do?" "An artist." That is how I usually introduce her to others. Painting, screenwriting, or something else. Just then my phone rang. It was Natalie calling. 14 Yeah, are you busy? Not at all. What's up? The award ceremony starts in just an hour, and I'm feeling a bit nervous. Take a deep breath. You're already amazing. Do you think I stand a chance? Of course your performance has won over many people. I've always played ugly characters in movies. I'm not sure if it comes across as authentic enough. It's already very close to reality, and I think your screw-tightening scene was the most beautiful. You looked naturally skilled at it. I deliberately joked, trying to ease Natalie's nervousness. Haha, I think so too. I feel much better now. Gotta go, the director's calling me. Alright, by hanging up the phone, I noticed everyone's eyes were on me again. Tightening screws. Laura first looked skeptical, then burst into a fit of raucous laughter, her shrill voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "Julian, so your girlfriend is a factory girl." Hearing Laura's words, everyone's eyes sparkled with amusement as they looked at me with even more disdain. Leo doubled over with laughter. "Julian, you graduated from T University. After all, how did you end up with a factory girl? Did your girlfriend even finish high school?" The crowd jeered. A pork seller and a screw turner, actually quite a perfect match. Mark let out a disdainful snort from his nose, shaking his head repeatedly. Louise wasn't as exaggerated as the others, smoothing a stray lock of hair by her ear, but didn't miss the faint smirk at the corner of her lips. Someone said to me with feigned sincerity, "My dad's auto factory is hiring right now. The pay is way above our city's average plus free room and board. Julian, why don't you bring your little girlfriend along, haha." I lowered my head so they wouldn't see the pity in my eyes. 10 years apart, and they're still just as detestable as they were back then. Because of me, the lively atmosphere in the private room lasted nonstop. They finally laughed their fill. A male classmate seemed to have just noticed the car keys Mark had left on the table all along and asked loudly with a hint of fawning tone, "When did Mark change his car?" "And it's AG class." 16. "Oh, I bought it several months ago. Got a few more home to switch between," Mark said casually. "Heard you upgraded to a bigger house last month. When are you inviting us guys over for a tour?" Mark glanced subtly in my direction, looking pleased. "Anytime you want." Laura had always been the loudmouth back in school, and now she couldn't help blurting out. Mark and Louise also bought a house in our high hooding complex. The total price was $40 million. A chorus of envious exclamations rose up. Louise smiled sheepishly and said, "Laura, looks like we'll be neighbors from now on. Let me tell you, living like Mark is the ultimate goal for any man." Mark waved his hand with a smile, exactly born with a silver spoon and still killing at luxury homes, fancy cars, a gorgeous wife. He's got it all, can't even compete with that. Mark feigned modesty again. "Hey, if I had a bit more cash, I'd straight up buy a place at Shanghai International, Louise, and I still prefer that area." The crowd showered Mark with another round of flattery. Just then the young security guard from earlier knocked and entered the room. He addressed me respectfully. "Sir, good day. The thing is, your car is parked in a rather precarious spot. It nearly got scraped by another vehicle. Just now, how about you hand me your keys, and I'll park it for you." 17. Before I could respond, Leo couldn't help but let out a snort of laughter. Stifling his amusement, he urged me, "Old classmate, quick, give them the car keys." The others also wore expressions of eager anticipation for the drama. The class monitor smiled helplessly and said, "Sorry about this, our classmate here is drunk. He was just joking." His words cut off abruptly as if someone had suddenly pressed the pause button, because I took out my car keys. The top of the key had Lamborghini's signature design. Anyone with eyes could recognize it. The security guard took the keys and said to me, "Very well, sir, I'll go park it for you." "Holy shit, Julian, is that really your car?" Leo's eyes nearly popped out of his head. The same people who had mocked me the loudest moments ago fell completely silent, unable to utter a single word, just standing there with their mouths agape, exchanging stunned glances. Laura kept giving me suspicious up and down looks, as if she was seeing me for the first time. Mark frowned tightly and was just about to speak. The class monitor beside me suddenly shouted, "Julian, what's that?" Following his gaze to the ground, I saw a pale, yellow slip of paper. It must have fallen out when I took my keys from my pocket earlier. The receipt was folded in half, but the 4 large characters at the top were still clearly visible. Luxury car, rental 18. Hey, so after all this the car was rented. The class secretary, as if discovering a new continent, quickly bent down to pick up the receipt. I didn't really care whether he looked or not, but remembering the document contained my friend's name and address, I swiftly snatched the receipt from his hands before he could open it. Sorry about that, it's rented for a friend. Some details aren't mine to share. It was indeed rented for a friend. For his wedding, he wanted 50 identical Bentley cars, and when we were still short by 10, I took charge of securing them. But I certainly wouldn't explain all this to him, and even if I did, the class monitor naturally wouldn't believe me, let alone anyone else. This time, they didn't mock me as freely as before. Instead, their eyes were filled with pity, as if I were some pitiable wretch. Julian, aren't you tired of putting on this act all evening? We're all old classmates here, know each other inside out. Is this really necessary? Mark relaxed deliberately, slowing down and emphasizing each word, know each other inside out. Some people can wear dragon robes, but still don't look like the crown prince. Everyone here remembers exactly what you did back then. 19 Louise gently nudged him. I should have been angry when he brought up the past, but now I just looked at him quietly, even smiling a little. Perhaps my attitude provoked him. What's there that can't be said? Mark's voice suddenly rose sharply. Who was it that lost that nearly 10 grand we all donated to Adam back then? Everyone fell silent and looked at me. To this day, they still believe it was me who stole the charity money donated for our classmate. Adam, my only true brother from college, was diagnosed with cancer during our senior year. His family was even poorer than mine. Both his parents had lost their ability to work due to an accident, and I heard his younger brother had intellectual disabilities. Our counselor, aware of the situation, organized a class-wide donation for him and assigned me to deliver the money to Adam. To help Adam raise more medical expenses, I attended classes during the day and worked part-time at night. That day on the bus to the hospital, I couldn't resist my drowsiness and dozed off for a while. When I woke up, the money in my arms had vanished without a trace. Facing the suspicion and insult from the entire class, I was powerless to defend myself. Only Adam believed in me. Brother, I don't blame you. Even if the money gone, this is terminal illness. Not even 100,000 would help, let alone 10,000. I stood by his hospital bed, weeping, uncontrollably overwhelmed with grief and unable to utter a single word. I would have rather he shouted at me or hit me. I just feel sorry for my parents. I was about to start working and earn money to support them, and I worry about my younger brother too. What will he do when our parents grow old? During that time, I was willing to try any method to make quick money. Donating blood, selling sperm, taking out high-interest loans, even robbery. While enduring daily malicious insult from the entire class, I was also racking my brains trying to figure out how to raise money for Adam. My mental state was on the verge of collapse, and I finally couldn't hold back any longer. I called and told my parents. After hearing me out, Dad said nothing, only telling me to focus on continuing my studies. The next day, 15,000 yuan appeared in my bank account. Dad sent a text, 10,000 to repay the class's donations. 5,000 is from our family alone for your classmate. I don't know exactly how my father managed to get that sum of money, but I do know that 15,000 was an extremely difficult amount for my family's situation at the time. Even though I used my own savings to make up the missing money, my classmate still wouldn't let it go. He couldn't handle the righteous accusations anymore, so he returned the stolen money. And Adam, in the end, didn't make it through that graduation season. 21, someone had informed the company that offered me a job about me stealing the charity money, and the job I had secured was gone. The spring recruitment season had long ended, and I couldn't find a job immediately. To make matters worse, my grandmother fell seriously ill, so I had no choice but to return to my hometown. As a result, the whole class spread the rumor that I had gone back to my hometown to sell pork with my father. I left the class group chat and changed my phone number. I've completely cut ties with them. Pulling my thoughts back from the past, I said calmly to Mark, "You've slandered me for all these years. It's time to stop. The bond between Adam and me is something none of you could ever compare to." Mark burst into exaggerated laughter as if he had heard some joke. Actions speak louder than words. What brotherly love, if you were truly as noble as you claim, could you take care of your good brother's parents? Could you raise his mentally disabled younger brother? You can't, can you? Faced with Mark's fierce accusations, I remained silent throughout. The phone rang again. It was William. 22 years old William was actually great in every other way, but his only flaw that bothered me was his loud voice. Julian, I've paid the property fees and utilities for the house at Shanghai International. I also hired 4 maids to clean it from top to bottom. Your parents can move in directly when they arrive tomorrow. I held the phone a little further from my ear, afraid he might actually deafen me. Gotta buy me another bouquet of flowers and come pick me up at the club tonight. I'll be drinking. After the awards ceremony, regardless of the outcome, I want to celebrate with Natalie. Got it, Julian, no problem. The call ended. Laura rolled her eyes. Did you all hear that? Julian, look how much Julian S. been stealing the spotlight tonight. We just mentioned how expensive the Shanghai International properties are, and he immediately had someone make a phone call, all just to show off that he owns a place there. Someone shouted, what a coincidence tonight, as the Golden Horse Awards ceremony. Julian, you damn well deserve the Best Actor trophy. 23. As soon as he finished speaking, a female classmate excitedly raised her phone and exclaimed loudly, quick check the trending list. Natalie won the Golden Horse Best Actress Award, and she even announced her engagement on stage. When I froze for a moment, I picked up my phone and opened Weibo. My eyes were met with a sea of red-hot trending topics. Natalie S. award speech turns out to be a wedding announcement. Natalie, Mr. Liao. Natalie wins Golden Horse Best Actress. Who is the man behind the Best Actress? Even though I had anticipated Natalie winning the award would trend, I never expected that I would also end up on the hot search list. I clicked on the most popular video. Natalie, dressed in a floor-length gown and holding the Golden Horse Best Actress trophy, said happily, thinking about marrying Mr. Liao soon, I feel this is one of the happiest moments of my life. My heart warmed when a popular actress announces her marriage. It inevitably has a significant impact on her career no matter what. To avoid affecting her, I always made sure to appear by her side with great caution. Ironically, it was she who repeatedly wanted to make our relationship public. Ajia, this isn't fair to you. We're in a normal relationship. We should be open about it. At the very least, I should make it public that I have a boyfriend. Unexpectedly, at the peak of her career, when all eyes were on her, she did what she had always wanted to do. Wow, Natalie is so bold. Who do you think this Mr. Liao she mentioned could be? Let me think, which male celebrity has the surname Liao? Though somewhat shocked, an irrepressible sweetness welled up in my heart, and I was genuinely happy for Natalie winning Best Actress. Julian, what are you smiling about? As if you were that Mr. Liao they mentioned. 24. After Leo finished speaking, another round of laughter erupted from the group. I couldn't wait to congratulate Natalie in person. Checking the time, William should be arriving any moment now. I calmly bid them farewell. The class monitor held me back, preventing me from leaving. Why are you leaving so soon? We all agreed earlier that we wouldn't leave until we were drunk. At that moment, some people in the private room were going to the restroom, others were making phone calls, and the doorway was bustling with comings and goings. I spotted William peeking in from outside the door. I signaled for him to wait a little longer. The class monitor followed my gaze and spotted William too. Suddenly, he pointed at William excitedly. Hey, aren't you that? The class monitor slapped his thigh. You're Adam's younger brother, William, aren't you? Monitor, are you mistaken? How could Adam's brother possibly be in this place? The class monitor was absolutely certain. No mistake. They even have identical moles on their faces. I remember it clearly. William bore a striking resemblance to his elder brother, and by sheer coincidence, both had a dark mole in exactly the same spot on their cheekbones. After Adam's death, his younger brother William, that is William, went to see the class monitor to retrieve some of Adam's belongings left in the dormitory. The class monitor pulled him in from outside the door. William, what are you doing here? William hadn't expected to encounter his brother's classmate here either. He scratched the back of his head with a simple, honest smile. I'm here to see Julian. The class monitor pressed further. What about your parents and your brother? How has your family been all these years? They're doing great with Julian around. Our whole family has always been, while they're living in a nursing home, now really happy. 25. The entire class turned to look at me in disbelief. Just now, Mark had questioned me, asking why I hadn't taken care of Adam's parents and younger brother. But the truth is I had for 10 whole years. William's mind might not be as sharp as most people's, but he is far from the fool outsiders make him out to be. He is as kind and dependable as his elder brother, and he relies on me a great deal, so I've always kept him by my side, treating him like my own younger brother. Taking on the responsibilities of both a son and an elder brother for a friend day after day for 10 years, this isn't something just anyone could do. Many were left speechless, realizing they had nothing left to criticize in this matter. Even Laura, known for her sharp tongue, and Leo, who always had it out for me, surprisingly refrained from commenting. Only Louise said softly, Julian, you've been so kind to Adam. I didn't say anything more. William arrived just as I was leaving, and this time they didn't try to stop me. But before I could even step fully through the doorway, I ran straight into someone. Bald head with a gold chain, carrying a small bag under his arm. Brian, over here. Laura stood up, happily waving at the newcomer. But the Brian she called out to didn't even glance at her. Instead, he looked at me with surprise and extended his hand. Oh my, Julian, what a coincidence. 26, I shook his hand. Brian, we had just met last week. when he came to eat with friends. Perfect timing, my wife. Having class reunion. Why don't you join us for a couple more drinks? We didn't get to finish properly last time. I was about to refuse when Laura rushed over and grabbed Brian's arm. She asked suspiciously, Brian, how do you know Julian? I never introduced you to him. Brian didn't catch the implication in Laura's words and said, we met at the club for dinner. Hey Julian, is that Lamborghini at the entrance the one you just picked up? What a coincidence, my buddy was there. When you want to collect it, he told me about it. And I immediately guessed it might be you, haha. Brian was a chatterbox and turned to Laura again. Honey, you know how you and your best friend both had your eyes on those properties in Shanghai? We couldn't afford them, but Julian TSK bought one without batting an eye. As he spoke, Brian even gave me a thumbs up. Laura's pupils instantly dilated as she stared at me in disbelief, completely frozen. I added, Brian ISN, some actor I hired. 27. Brian looked at me, then at Laura, then at the whole room full of stunned faces. Actor, what actor? The room fell into a brief silence. Laura shook Brian's arm. Brian, you said he... Laura pointed at me, not only can afford a Lamborghini, but also bought a house in Shanghai International. No kidding, are you sure you've got the right person? Honey, come on there, no way I'd mistake anyone for Julian. Leo still refused to believe it. How is this possible? You couldn't even find a job after graduation, how could you? True, if you and cost me that job offer back then, things might have turned out very differently indeed. I said calmly, watching Leo's face turn grim. How did you know? I've known all along. He was the one who stabbed me in the back and cost me my job. The crowd gradually recovered from their shock, murmuring and discussing fervently among themselves. Oh my God, that car and that house, does he really own them? I still think there has been a mistake. It's impossible. Don't you know how rich Laura's husband is? How could they be mistaken? And why would they team up with Julian to trick us? Unless Julian robbed a bank, how else could he be that rich? Or maybe winning the lottery. However, this time the way they looked at me shifted from initial disdain and contempt to curiosity and scrutiny. Brian listened to everyone's words, his expression growing increasingly bewildered. Honey, who are they saying is pretending to be poor Julian? Laura countered with a question instead. Brian, you say he drives luxury cars and lives in mansions, but do you even know who he is? How could he possibly afford? Brian looked at Laura with exasperation. He.S., the owner of the prestigious Crescent Moon Club, operates dozens of restaurants and invests in real estate, film, and hotels. The combined assets of your entire class don't equal Julian's wealth. Why shouldn't he be able to afford it? Don't make a fool of yourself. 28. I saw Laura's jaw drop open as if dislocated, unable to close. With a clang, the class monitor's wine glass fell onto the table, splashing alcohol all over himself. Leo's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. Louise covered her mouth with both hands. Mark's face turned a deep purplish red like a piece of liver. Holy Mother of God. The class monitor's voice trembled from sheer excitement. Classmates, am I hearing this right? Julian owns this place. Fine, Mark spoke with a sinister tone. Quite the dark horse, aren't you? So playing poor tonight was just a mess with us, Julian. He practically spat out the name Julian through clenched teeth. I chuckled, no need, I'm not that bored. Besides, apart from modestly saying I run a small business, I don't think I was deliberately pretending to be poor. Right from the start, I had George comped their bill in front of them, but they just wouldn't believe it. Since we're no longer close anyway, there was naturally no need for me to explain further. Brian was amused by everyone's reaction. So you guys came to have drinks with Julian without even knowing who he is. I patted him and kindly explained. They really don't know, because today is just our college reunion. Brian's eyes lit up. Julian and my wife were actually college classmates. What a coincidence, ISNT it. I didn't have time to argue with him further, simply saying we'd catch up another day when I was free. Before leaving, I turned to Mark. I'll inform Manager Yao again. All expenses tonight are on the house. The club has plenty of relaxation and entertainment options. Take your time showing the classmates around. I won't be joining you. 29. Mark pursed his lips, tightly gripping his glass with one hand, unable to utter a word. The class monitor called my name, but I ignored it and walked straight out. When William drove me to the building where Natalie lived, I took out my phone to ask Natalie what time she'd be back. The first thing I saw was a message from the class monitor. Julian, I've added you to our class group chat. Let us stay in touch more often from now on. Opening the group chat, many people were tagging me in the messages. Without exception, they were all praising me. In college, he won the national scholarship every single year. Every competition I enter, I come home with the gold. Even back then, I could tell he was no ordinary fish in a small pond. And I made it this far entirely on my own, relying solely on my genuine abilities. Even Leo's attitude shifted following the crowd by sending several approving emojis. The stark contrast in everyone's attitudes before and after was truly astonishing. As if those who had just mocked and ridiculed me were not them at all. Only Mark and Louise remained silent the entire time. I saw quite a few new friend requests in my contacts, all from the class group. One of them was Louise. Julian, let me pass. Just a few words, yet I felt an uncomfortable sensation, as if a goddess descending from on high had bestowed her favor, permitting a mere mortal like me to approach. I turned off my phone and stopped paying them any attention. The next day, the trending topic from last night was still hot. I was a bit worried about whether it might affect Natalie, but she just smiled and told me not to worry. I'm not an idol. I'm just an actor. My life is about being open and honest. Apart from my work, I don't need to care about others' opinions. Natalie's agent suddenly called. Zai Yu and your boyfriend have been photographed. The paparazzi are threatening to expose the photos unless we pay them $10 million. Natalie was furious when she heard this. I comforted her. It's just $10 million. We can afford it. It's not about the money. What I hate is the paparazzi's blackmail. So many people in the industry have been intimidated by them, but the more we fear, the more lawless they become. Natalie took out her phone and opened her personal homepage. She suddenly looked up and asked me, Jay, would it bother you if everyone found out you're my fiancé? I smiled and stroked her hair. No, she also smiled. That's good then. And so 1 minute later, another explosive trending topic appeared on Weibo, causing the system to temporarily crash. Meanwhile, my phone was ringing off the hook. Natalie didn't say anything, just posted a photo of the two of us together. Thus, all netizens came to know what the best actress Mr. Liao looked like. Surprisingly, he's just an ordinary person. I think this man must be extraordinary, otherwise, how could the goddess possibly fancy him? Actually, just judging by age and appearance alone, they make quite a compatible pair. Thank goodness, as long as he's not some old man waiting for the experts to dig up this guy's info. Neither of us had work scheduled today, so we turned off our phones and returned to my place, enjoying a rare moment of quiet time with my parents. The next day, the moment I turned on my phone, William's call came through. He sounded very angry. Julian, look at what I sent you. Someone is deliberately smearing Sister Jerome. 31. I opened WeChat and saw William had sent me an article link. The article not only fabricated lengthy rumors claiming Natalie used to be a hostess, but also included photos from unknown sources alleging that after entering the industry, Natalie had seduced directors and producers, sleeping with countless people to win that Golden Horse Best Actress award. I opened the photo, and sure enough, it was Natalie in the picture. Under the seductive pink, lighting her entire back, was exposed a man, while over 50 was caressing her smooth skin, whispering something in her ear. I only hesitated for a moment before deciding to show the photo to Natalie. Never thought the day would come when mud would be slung my way. Fame really does attract trouble. Natalie laughed in exasperation. Anyway, Jay, the fact that you showed me this means you believe in me, and that's enough for me. I took her hand, but my belief alone isn't enough. I need the fans, the netizens, to know too that you're not that kind of person. Natalie thought for a moment before continuing. Remember that art film I shot last year that ultimately didn't pass censorship? This was the director demonstrating the scene and movements for my co-star during rehearsal. I nodded, knowing this much was enough. I kissed her and smiled. All right, you rest. Well, leave the rest to me. You don't need to worry about anything. I had someone contact the film crew's director and staff from back then, and also arrange for people to trace where this article first appeared. The internet spreads like wildfire. In just a few hours, the Golden Horse award-winning actress and Mr. Liao, who were praised as a romantic tale yesterday, have now been labeled as a promiscuous woman who would stop at nothing to climb the social ladder, and a pitiful man who was taken advantage of. The people I arranged were very reliable and quickly helped me trace the source of that slanderous article. The person I contacted from the film crew also sent me the relevant materials. 32, the director of that art film, Natalie mentioned, posted a statement on Weibo. Miss Sue is one of the most dedicated artists I've encountered in my career as a young performer. Her pursuit of artistic excellence truly moved me. It's a great pity that the Gobi couldn't be released to the public, but I'll never forget every actor who performed for low pay and every crew member who worked tirelessly during the filming. Then he posted a photo showing Natalie talking to the director with her bare back exposed. The difference was this photo included many people: the cinematographer, lighting technicians, makeup artists. Anyone with eyes could tell this was a film set. Subsequently, other crew members from the production team at the time came forward to leave comments and testify. Photos and videos, all the evidence was there. Natalie's fans and movie enthusiasts, seeing this, confidently reposted the content en masse, delivering a powerful counterattack against the trolls who had initially slandered and insulted her. I opened my university class group chat. Too many messages, I skimmed through them quickly. From the shock, envy, and praises when Natalie posted our photo yesterday, to the doubts and discussions after that article appeared this morning. Mark rarely shows up, but he managed to squeeze in a few gloating and malicious remarks. Something about whores being heartless and actors being ungrateful. What a sucker, what a pushover. I watched these words coldly. Then I posted the evidence I had found in the group chat and tagged Louise. The group exploded instantly. 33. I've obtained all of Louise's chat records with others. It was her. She had people collect damaging information about Natalie, then deliberately posted it online and hired trolls to amplify its reach. I don't understand why Louise would do this. Is it resentment? Because I didn't accept her generous offer by approving her friend request. It's been 10 years without contact, and now there's even less reason to. Is it jealousy towards Natalie, but Natalie never even knew her? Whatever her reasons may be, I absolutely cannot tolerate her harming Natalie. Does anyone in the group know about the law in this situation? How can my fiancé pursue legal action? After sending that message, I left the group chat. Half an hour later, the class monitor sent a video. In the video, Mark was scowling as he reluctantly apologized to me. He also mentioned that Louise had been frightened she was pregnant with their third child and shouldn't be stressed. I hope you can be magnanimous and let it go. They're willing to offer me financial compensation. I showed Natalie the evidence in the video. Natalie frowned and asked, "Is this Louise, the class beauty you had a crush on in college?" I nodded sheepishly. Good thing she didn't take a liking to you. Would you dare to be with someone like that? I shook my head. Natalie, what do you want to do then? She is already pregnant. If we really do something to her public opinion, will turn against us again. Forget it. Just have her make an apology video. After the class monitor relayed my words to Mark, he was reluctant at first. I refused to back down. Bullying me is one thing, but bullying my fiancée is absolutely unacceptable. If she refuses, even if Natalie doesn't pursue it, I will hold Louise accountable. Left with no choice, Louise ultimately recorded an apology video and posted it online. In the video, she cried pitifully as if she were the victim. 34. A small wave of internet trolls emerged attempting to steer public opinion in Louise's favor. I walked into the largest luxury private room at the Starlight Clubhouse at the agreed time. After Louise publicly apologized online, the Zhou family couldn't save face anymore. Mark's father is also a prominent figure in city. This whole incident has somewhat affected his reputation. But none of this has anything to do with me anymore. 9 months later, the class monitor told me that Louise had given birth a daughter. 3 daughters in a row. Mark and his mother weren't happy to that the fallout from the apology incident, and they still hold a grudge against Louise. Mark has been keeping a college girl as his mistress. His father was so furious he nearly broke his legs. Everyone in our class looks down on Mark now. What era? Is this what's wrong with having a daughter? Right, Louise University? Just followed him. I tapped the voice message, listening to the gossip with little interest. Class monitor, you don't need to tell me about these things in the future. Putting down my phone, I looked at Natalie watering the flowers on the balcony. I walked over and hugged her, gently touching her swollen belly. Natalie turned her head and smiled at me. The end.